it felt like it took about a year before I started winning clients. And then once it started, they just sort of started coming from, some of them came from referral sources, some of them came from connections I had made, some of them came through the audit side, but we had people here in tax.
10 years being a partner, that's amazing. And I'm very impressed that you moved to Florida and then you pretty much like start over again. As you mentioned many times, like you have to prove yourself many times over again each time you relocate. Have you ever feel like you're so tired from that, from like proving yourself?
I will say when I got to Florida, when I met my husband, my now husband, he said, so, okay, he's born and raised in Tampa. There, not a lot of those exist, but he's one of them. And he said, so what are the chances that you're going to be asked to move again? And I said, 0. I am not moving again. I have done my time. I have done my moves. I have been the yes girl. I am done. I am staying where I am. So definitely I don't even want to say it's tiring because again, every experience for me has been so special in its own right. But moving to Florida was the first place I moved because I really wanted to be in Florida. I went to DC for the job. I went to Abu Dhabi for the job. I went to Boston for the job. Like all of my moves had been for work. I want, obviously kind of wanted to do them too, but like they were largely driven by work. Moving to Florida, while it was driven by the opportunity at BDO, I only answered the recruiter that day because it said Tampa, and I knew that Tampa was very likely where I wanted to land. So it was the first time in my life that I moved somewhere for me that I wanted to go to because personally that's where I wanted to live. And it felt like home immediately. And I think that was because it was like, oh, I'm finally where I want to be, something I've done for myself. BDO almost just like was the icing on the cake because that experience has worked out very well for me as well. But it is a lot. It's certainly not for the weak. But like I said, I'm a yes person. You get one shot at this life. I don't want to just be stagnant. Now my life is exhausting in very different ways. So I am out in the community a lot. I do a lot with nonprofits. I do a lot of networking events. I am on the go pretty regularly, and that can get tiring, but that's all happening in and around the place I enjoy being. So it's like a different kind of exhausting, I guess. But yes, I'm not moving anymore. I will be, until I am done in accounting, I will be in Tampa, Florida. You heard it here first.
That's what I was about to say, that you start in Florida, you move all around in different places, and then you come back to Florida.
Mm-hmm. And if I had gotten my CPA originally in Florida, then I would only have one license. But because I waited, I don't. I have a license in Virginia that I have to keep. And then I had a math license, but I let that one go. But so now I'm Virginia and Florida. But I thought, well, if I had done it right out of school, I would just already be where I want to be. But it's been great. The FICPA here is great. It's getting involved more in the FICPA events, doing a lot more mentoring, both inside and outside of BDO. That's all been really special. So like just different. My career is like different now than it used to be, but certainly not going to move. If they asked me tomorrow to go anywhere, the answer would be.
So now see that you say no more often than yes.
Absolutely. But again, I have earned the right to do so. So
Yeah. And so you had to build the video office in Florida, as you said, pretty much from nothing. So what was the most issue at the beginning when you try to build the office, hire employees, and make connection or get clients?
So, like I said, it was a very interesting time. So I started on June 1, 2020. We were at home. Now, Florida, very different than a lot of the country during COVID, because Florida mostly said, we're just going to keep living and doing whatever. it certainly is not the same as it is now as it was then. Like the events that I went to were a lot smaller during that time. Traffic was a lot different. A lot of people weren't out, but it still was open for business. So I wasn't allowed to be in the office. I wasn't allowed to meet my team I didn't meet my whole team until April 15th, 2021. We did like a post busy season event together. Before that, it was all virtual. So, and there was only 5 people in the tax department when I started. So it basically was starting from scratch. Of those 5, we lost a couple, but then started to build. So doing a lot of recruiting, a lot of interviewing, kind of one person at a time, getting interns to come in, hopefully getting them to convert. So that was a little slow at first, but now I think we have like 35 people here. So it's a very different practice than it was then. Clients, some of them I inherited, some of them we kept, some of them we moved on from. BDO started in Tampa as an acquisition of a small local firm. So there was something here, but it wasn't BDO and it was very different. So our audit practice was a lot bigger than our tax practice because we had a dedicated audit person here. There hadn't been a tax partner here at the time. And then I just went to anything and everything anyone would invite me to. I will say that Tampa is an incredible business community. It is very much pay it forward. So everybody wants you, it's very inclusive. Everybody wants you to come to events. And then as I would meet people, they'd say, oh, well, you don't know anyone either. I think you would like this person. You should be friends with this person. You should meet this person. So like I said, anything anyone was having or would invite me to, I went to, whether it was good, beneficial or not. I just thought, well, the more people I know, the more people I know. So my goal in the first year was to build a brand for myself and for BDO. Some people knew who BDO was, didn't know we had an office here. Some people had never heard of BDO at all, even though we're the 5th largest accounting firm in the world. So anyways, so I just did. And then I joined a board of Big Brothers Big Sisters Tampa Bay in October. And then I applied to be part of Leadership Tampa Bay, which is most cities have chamber run programs called Leadership Tampa, Leadership Orlando, Leadership Miami. This one is a little bit different because it wasn't through the chamber and it was Tampa Bay. So instead of just being local to Tampa, it included the 4 surrounding counties to Hillsborough. So normally that program kicks off in September, but because of COVID, they were unsure of what they were going to do because none of us wanted to do the program virtually. So when they decided to move it to start in January and do it in person, I applied and got in. It is where I met my husband. So for me, it was very beneficial from a personal perspective. That was not in the cards. I didn't ever expect that to happen. So that was an added bonus, but that was a really great way for me to meet 50 people in the business community, some with banks, some with insurance companies, some wealth advisors, just people in all, really good, starting my referral source network and also learning about the area and, different types of businesses here and different types of community issues. And then it just started it took a while. I told people it felt like it took about a year before I started winning clients. And then once it started, they just sort of started coming from, some of them came from referral sources. Some of them came from connections I had made. Some of them came through the audit side, but we had people here in tax around, I started in June, and then in probably, I think October, now we're called principals, but a managing director from another Big 4 firm was moving from Miami to Tampa because of COVID, didn't want to live in Miami anymore. I got a lot of people that moved. Like I was in like the right place at the right time because so many people were moving to Florida and then tired of working at the firms they were working for. So found a lot of really great talent that way too at the upper levels. But we found TJ. He came and started as a director. And then he's the first person I made, he was my first person that I made partner. So that was a really exciting experience. He's on the corporate side. I'm on the partnership side. So we just kind of started growing and it's evolved from there. So we are a very different firm than what it was when I got here. But like I said before, it has been the most rewarding experience to see, because I will tell you, when I interviewed, I could talk about technical, I could talk about people skills, management skills, any of that. But when they asked if I had done traditional business development, I really hadn't. I had good relationships with clients that turned into maybe more work at a client, or maybe getting a referral to this client or that client, but I had never been out in the market. And so I had to tell them, I don't know if I'm going to be good at that, because I've never done it. I feel like I could be good at it because I'm outgoing and, happy to go make these connections, but I didn't know if I would be any good at it. And that was a little bit scary because I wasn't sure. As it turns out, I'm very good at it. And I love it. Like it's for me, the going out and meeting people and getting pulled into opportunities and then winning clients and helping them with their problems and helping fix things, or being able to explain things to people in a way that they can understand as a non-tax person. So like, I feel like that's all been really fun to see the change in what I was doing. So I do a lot less sitting at my computer doing tax returns, and I do a lot more outside of my office with, again, out in the community, or out in the market. And that's been awesome. But again, I was a partner. I had been a partner for 4 years, and I wasn't sure if I would be good at that, but I love that. And I love seeing other people start to do that too, because I feel like when you're younger, you think networking or selling is this weird, scary, like I used to think that people just called companies and were like, hey, do you need someone to do your tax work? Like, I did not, that's what I thought it was. And then turns out, it's so much about building relationships, and that is very easy for me to do. So it's just going out and meeting people, and again, developing those relationships with bankers and with wealth advisors and with insurance folks, and just anybody that investment banks that might have a client that might need help, that they want to refer you because they know you and they like you and you have a good reputation, or you've helped them and referred clients to them. So when I realized that's all it really was out there building relationships, then it just became, okay, well, I love doing this. And now I try and take our folks younger and younger to events to say, it's not scary at all. And if you start younger with people that are your level, at some point, they're going to be the controller or the CFO at a company, and you're going to be a partner. And maybe they'll become your client, or they'll become your referral source. So we push that a lot on people, that it isn't scary. It's not, I never go to an event and somebody says, tell me what you can do for me right now. It's never like, tell me every service that you offer and how you can help my company. That's never how it works out. But I used to think that that's how it would be. And I'd be like scared, like, am I going to be able to go to this event and do that? But then it's just going and meeting people and building the network. And then somebody thinks of you when they need help because they liked meeting you or they know you at that point.
Yeah, sometimes just going out and seeing people is just a lot more fun after working so many hours. It's just like a break from work, but you're still working because you're building the network for your job. But I think it's a good combination if you can go out and then do networking at the same time, still advance your technical knowledge. That will help a lot in case people say, hey, I have a question about this type of code. I have a question about this situation. You're like, oh, I know that. I can talk to you. And that also will build impression on those people, and they will think about you when they need the services, or they can introduce you to someone else.
Yep, absolutely. But don't be scared. Start early. Go to like young emerging leader programs or young professionals networking things, like anything you can go to. I tell people this all the time. I said, just leave your house, go to a recruiting event, go to a networking event, go to the office, whatever it is. But I'm now always, my mindset didn't used to be that way, but now it is very much like I'm sitting next to somebody on a plane and we start talking and they are looking to sell their business. Like now my brain is always sort of on this like, ooh, or helping other people make connections. Cause I think that too, so much of at least in Tampa, like I said, paying it forward. So many people helped me when I got here that anytime I meet someone that is new to Tampa and looking to build their network, I'm like, who do you want to meet? Do you want to meet bankers? Do you want to meet other CPAs? Do you want, who is it that you're looking to meet? Because if I know the person and I can start to make those connections, I want to do that for you. And I feel like everybody here is just like happy. Like it's just like a happy business community, and everybody wants everybody to do well.
Yeah, talking about that, I want to share one of my story that years ago when I went for a networking event, there was a lady. She came to me and then she asked me right away, "Hey, my name is ABCXYZ, and what can I do for you? Who can I connect with you?" Like straight to the point, and I was a little bit like surprised because normally for me, I'm like outgoing and like to talk, so I would say, "Oh, hey, what's your name? What do you do?" And know a little bit about that those people before I dive like, hey, what can I do for you? Something like that. And so I just want to say that when you go to networking events, you will see a lot of different people and they may network in a lot of different ways. You just get to know them and then just adapt with those different ways and just learn from each time you go to network, you will be better at it.
Yep, and that's another thing. Sometimes doing that can be tiring.
Yeah.
I think I'm technically a introverted extrovert, so I am quite extroverted, but I also really like sitting on my couch by myself. So I think I'm a little bit of both. So sometimes those events, when there's a lot of them, it can be a lot. But I never leave an event thinking I wish I hadn't gone. Every single time I have connected with somebody that I'm like, that is an excellent connection. And most of my personal group of friends here in Tampa all came from professional networking. So that too, like I go to events a lot that are like with my friends, even though it is still networking and it is still in a professional environment. These are people that I now know and really enjoy, and we spend time together outside of work related things. So I don't ever walk into a room and not know people. And that's also really nice. But again, I didn't know if I'd be able to do that. I didn't know how that would turn out for me. And as it turns out, I love it. And now I love seeing other people start to love it. And like the chase, the hunt of new clients and, winning that client and bringing them on board. I feel like that's so much fun that I would have told you, ew, never, I don't want to do that. I just want to, you give me the client and I'll do the work. As it turns out, I really like the other side of it. I like both. So I like getting to do both, but it certainly was something that surprised me.
I think it's amazing that you are both introvert and extrovert. So you not feel like love being outside all the time, like going out all the time. I think I'm like 100% or maybe like 200% extrovert.
Okay. Okay. I come off that way, but I really do like being at home sometimes in peace and quiet.
Yeah, that's good because you have a good balance. Because
Yeah.
for my husband, he's very introvert and I'm very extrovert. And so sometimes my husband like, I need a break from you. Too much. We just have too much energy.
I will say, let's see. So I was sick all last week, so I didn't do anything. Well, nothing outside of my house. But the 2 weeks before that, I went to 10 holiday events in 14 days. And I definitely could have gone to probably 16 events, but I said I cannot go out every night in a row. Like that's too many. So I try and keep it to like 3 evenings a week, but that's also not normal. The regular part of the year, I try to go to a networking event at least one night a week, if not two, but I try not to do more than that because I do need to go home and sit in quiet and watch TV with my husband and my dogs. So
Yeah.
that's how I recharge is at home, which I think that's what makes me an introvert, even though you could put me anywhere in any situation and I will talk to you about whatever you want to talk about.
Just like today, I can just keep talking to you all day long. I think I had a great time discussing about your CPA journey, also like all the tips and advice you learned through your career. Before we end this podcast, I'm just wondering if you can share some tips and advice to young professionals who want to advance in this profession.
So a lot of what I've already said, say yes to opportunities, be open to new things, to learning new things, to putting in yourself in positions where things are scary and you don't know what you're doing. All you have to do is ask people for help, and everyone I've ever encountered really wants to help other people. And if you're not in an environment like that, find a new environment because they definitely do exist in public accounting. But be willing to put the time in. Again, if you have people that are in the office, you should go be in the office with them. You may hate it now, but it will be worth it in the future for sure. Put in the hours. It is a lot of hours, a lot of hard work earlier in your career, but I feel like it is worth it. At least I felt like it was worth it. Get out there, join these programs. That's something I did not do early on, and I wish that I had started networking earlier. Get your CPA, get it out of the way, get the money if they're offering you money, but just get it done. And probably one of the biggest things for me has been, sometimes people like to talk about what it was like for them I'd say in a bad context of, well, my manager made me do this and I'm making you do this, even though it's not the right thing to do. I'm very much I took all of the things that I didn't like that were done to me, and I try not to do those to other people. So I like remember I had a manager at one period in my career that would say, I need all of this work by midnight or whatever tonight. So like you would work crazy to get it done, and then it would sit, because this was back in the paper days too, those stacks of paper would sit on that person's desk or on the floor next to their desk for 3 weeks. And I'd think, why did I work so hard to do that? So I'm very much with my teams, like I set the expectation of, hey, just so you guys know, like we need to get this out the door by Friday, but I'm not going to be able to look at it until Thursday. So don't work all night Monday or Tuesday to get it to me when I'm not going to be able to look at it. So try and be very open with my communication with folks. Treat them the way I wish I had been always treated. I care about everybody, all of my team. So like I start pretty much every conversation with anybody on my team with, how are you? How was your weekend? What are your plans for the holidays? Like whatever it is, like I want to know about my people and what matters to them and be supportive of those things. And I had somebody say to me a couple of months ago, they said, you're teaching us how to be the leader that you are. And that for me was like like such a special moment, because like I didn't even really think about that. I want to lead my people and my teams the way I wish it had always been. Because like I said, this profession is hard. It is not for the weak. It can be a lot sometimes, but it doesn't have to be bad. It can be done in a very positive way. And I feel like that means so much to them. And I also put the time in. I go to events with them. I go be with them out at, like, I'll be the last one at happy hour with the whole team, even though every other maybe partner's gone. But I feel like it's important to do that. So even if you're only a senior, or even if you're an associate and you have interns coming in, think about that and about what you want their career to be like, or the help you didn't get, or whatever it is. And don't push those bad qualities down, and don't keep that cycle going. Do the right thing that you wish that had always been done for you. And I feel like that has gotten me so far in my career. And I don't want to say that I did any of this like selfishly so that people would work harder for me. But I also figured out very early on, if your team feels respected and cared about, they will do anything for you. And so I have some people that'll be like, this team would take a bullet for you. And I'm like, oh, I don't want them to. I really don't. But that's an environment that is so much better for everybody, and where everybody develops and everybody feels cared for. Because sometimes it's really just as easy as like, are you okay? Or people know that they can come to me and tell me, this is what's going on at home. Like, I can't focus right now. And it's like, then go focus on that, because you're not going to be any good at work right now. You're certainly not going to turn out good quality product that's done correctly if your brain is somewhere else, because you have this like terrible thing happening at home. And life happens. I tell people that all the time, like, we have commitments to our clients, but life happens. And we have people that will pick up the slack. If you need to go, be gone. If somebody in your family just passed, if somebody's sick, about to pass, we've got you. We will do everything that we can. But I think everybody also knows that when it's their time, somebody's going to do the right thing for them. So build that culture, be, part of the better part of accounting, not the bad part of accounting. Do your networking, get your CPA, and say yes.
Wow, Christina, I want to add one thing. You mentioned about asking people, are you okay? And sometimes just that simple question could mean so much, because just from my experience this past busy season, I was pregnant and I was so stressed with a lot of things going on the top of my body changing because of pregnancy. And the director just called me and we was planning to talk about the client. But before we talk about client, he asked me, Rosey, are you okay? Oh my God, I just start crying.
Oh,
I was like, your question just came the right time, right moment, because I just feel so stressed and so overwhelmed right now. And then after that, once I calm down, then we talk about client. But yes, taking care of your team, it's just so important. And I was going to go above and beyond to work for that director because I know that he cared about me and cared about my mental health and my physical health as well. So it's just so important. So please take care of your team if you can, or if you have a team, or if you're young in your career, you don't have your own team yet. It's fine to just take care of your peers, people at the same level with you.
yep,
That's meaningful as well.
yep.
And you never know, you may work in the same team and take care of people at the same level with you.
I was going to say that is one more thing I'll add. The accounting world is small.
Yep.
So you guys have heard I have lived in various places, worked at various firms. The amount of small world things that happen all the time is really fascinating. So don't burn bridges because it will come back to haunt you if you do. It just, you might think, well, I live in Washington and that bad experience I had was in Miami, but you never know where that person's going, where you're going. You may both end up in St. Louis, Missouri together, so don't burn bridges because as it turns out, the tax world is a very small one.
Very small, very small. I absolutely agree. Thank you so much,
Thank you,
Christina. This
Rosie.
was
Thanks for
great
having me.
fun. Yes, thank you. You have a wonderful holiday.
Okay, you too. Bye.